What's up, everybody? Master Reactor here, and I have a replay for y'all today. Go figure. First of all, let's see the ladder. Pretty nice. Second place, let's fucking go. Can't catch Purple Drunk. He's too high. I'm dueling high, but he is way too high on the ladder. It's gonna be a while if I can even catch his ass. I don't know if I can, but we are trying. I mean, all I can do is try, so try hard, try hard. Let's see the duel records here. See what happened. Been winning like crazy. Win, 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 win. I lost one here and lost one here. That hurt, but it is what it is. At 11:51. Oh, I throw scissors, he throws papers. So, alright. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Get to go first. I've got Solum, MST, Book of Moon, Breaker, Upstart, and Jar of Greed. I fire the Upstart, accidentally shuffle, it's a misclick, and I draw into BLS. I decide to set MST, set Solum, set Book, set Jar of Greed, and summon the Breaker, and pass. He's got Premature, Knock, Apprentice Magician, Mystic Tomato, Book of Moon, and Metamorphosis. So, let's see what he's going to do here. He decides to run the tomato out. And I say to myself, I don't think he has heavy, so I'm just going to soul him here. I feel like he would have fired the heavy to make me waste the soul even if he knew I had soul him. So I just soul him Judgment the tomato right away and say, fuck it. And looks like, yeah, he passes. I draw into a Sangan. I Jar of Greed into a Knock, so now I wish I would have Book of Mooned him instead of Solemn Judgment at him, but it is what it is. So I poke him for 29, and I set the Knock and pass. Don't want him to get value with the duo, that's why I'm setting all this shit here. So he will get value with the heavy, but whatever. So he fires Graceful, which is a pretty good draw for him. He draws into Meta, another Tomato, and Tsukiyomi. Pretty nice. He throws out Apprentice Magician and throws out Metamorphosis. So he decides to run the Tsukiyomi out, and instead of setting the Breaker, he's worried about my Sangan, so he sets the Sangan and he knocks the Sangan right away. Okay, which is fine. Then he fires Book of Moon on the Breaker. And he swings at the Breaker, and I decide to not use Book of Moon here, and I just let the Breaker go. Figure it's alright, we'll be fine. I draw into a ring, I set the ring, and pass. He draws into a duo, so there's the duo that I'm worried about. And he runs the Mystic Tomato out here, and tries to attack, but I ring it, and just say fuck it. And he sets the duo and passes. I decide to end phase MST, pop the duo, I draw into a Chaos Sork, which is terrible, and I pass. He draws into a Magical Merchant. He fires Premature Burial, I say okay, that's fine. He gets the tomato here, and he swings, and I decide to Book of Moon the tomato here. Because I got the knock. He sets the merchant and passes. I draw into Graceful. Pretty nice draw here. I draw Wing Blast, Spy, and Deco. So now I decide to throw out the Wing Blast and throw out the Deco. And I knock the new one because I think it's a Faith or something, and Merchant's just as worse. So get rid of that. I set the Spy and pass. He draws into a Book of Moon. This way I figure he can't really get past this unless he draws another knock or he has another knock. So that was just the play. I could have threw out BLS so I had the light, but I felt like that wasn't the right play. It's better to keep the BLS. So he runs right into the Spy, which is good for me. He takes the 600, and I grab another Spy. He sets Book of Moon and passes. I draw into Heavy Storm. I decide just to pass. I don't set the Heavy. He draws in the Scapegoat now. And he switches his Tomato, sets Scapegoat, and passes. I draw into a knock. I decide to fire the Heavy here. Just do it. Say fuck it. And he does not chain Scapegoat. So, okay. That was pretty nice. Don't know why he didn't chain Scapegoat there. Maybe he didn't want to lock his board, but whatever. So he top decks into Sinister here. And he fires the Meta. And gets 1,000 eyes and sucks up one of my spies. And he passes. I draw into Solemn Judgment. I decide to set Solemn and pass. He draws into a knock, which is pretty dead for him. He grabs a Sinister back. And he runs out the Tsukiyomi that I know he has. And he sets 1,000 eyes restrict. I say okay. And then he flips it and I just Solemn Judgment it. Because I'm just like, you know, if you got fucking... He doesn't have a light and dark, so I figure there's no way. The only thing this gets punished by is a snatch, but he doesn't have it. So he passes, and I draw into Thunder Dragon. So I grab one Thunder Dragon with the Thunder Dragon, and I discard the other Thunder Dragon and grab another one. This is just in case he tries me and says that you can't discard Thunder Dragon, which you definitely can. But just in case he does, I'll just do it this way. So I bring out the Chaos Sword and banish the Tomato. I drop the BLS on him. And I tribute the whatchamacallit, didn't really need to, and I swing for game. So pretty clutch game one there. Alright, Thunder Dragon for the win. Thunder Dragon does win a lot of games when you need that light. Game 2, he's got a pretty good hand. Zabord, Merchant, Decree, Apprentice Magician, Pot of Greed, and Knock. He Pot of Greeds into Scapegoat and Tsukiyomi here. So he sets Apprentice Magician and sets Decree and passes. I draw into a Knock. So I've got Knock, Solemn, Upstart, Breaker, Wing Blast, and Deco. I fire the Upstart into a Spy, which is okay. I decide to run the Breaker out. And I break. It's a Decree. And I knock the monster right away. Pretty much have to. And I swing for 1,600. And set Wing Blast and set Solemn and pass. He draws into a Heavy. So right on time with that. And he decides to fire the Heavy. And I decide just to Solemn Judgment it. Probably shouldn't have did this, but it is what it is. Now he runs Tsukiyomi out, puts my Breaker face down, and swings. I probably should have Wing Blasted that, but I didn't. Maybe that's a situation where Rudeki Break's better than Wing Blast, but it is what it is. So I draw into a ring here, and I decide to just run the Deco out because I think he has Knock or something, and that is met with a Scapegoat. So I swing at one of the tokens. This game is not going that great. I set the ring and pass. He draws into a creature swap. Okay. So he switches the goat, and I take the goat, and he takes the Deco. And he tries to go into battle phase, but I decide to just Wing Blast it here. Put my Deco back on top. Now I know he has plus 1,000,000 on me, but it is what it is. All I can really do. Just have to play the cards I get. So he sets Merchant and passes. I draw into a Deco, which I know I'm going to draw because I Wing Blasted it. And I just go into battle and swing in the monster. And he gets Graceful. So if it couldn't have got any worse, it just got worser. That fucking sucks. He draws into a Mind Control here. And he fires Graceful on me. I say okay. He draws Meta, Scapegoat, and Book of Moon. He discards Book of Moon, he discards Scapegoat. And he decides to Metamorphosis. And get the 1,000 Eyes Restrict. I have to ring this here. Then he decides to run Tsukiyomi out, put my Deco down. And there's the Knock. And he swings over the token and passes. I draw into Torrential, which is a pretty nice top deck, I guess. He draws into Meta. So he can't really do anything. He passes. I draw into a Faith here. This is what really fucked me here. I set the Faith and pass. He has Mind Control, so the shit is a wrap. I have to risk it, though. He already used Knock. I mean, something told me he had mind control in his hand too before setting it. He mind controls it, flips it up, grabs Heavy Storm, pops my Torrential. That sucks. He runs out BLS, runs out Tsukiyomi, and that is the game 2. So we're going to game 3. Game 3, I put Dust Shoots in, maybe a Kaiku, and maybe a Mind Control, I think. And a Torrential I leave in. And that's it. So, game 3, I open Snatch, Wing Blast, Thunder Dragon, Solemn Judgment, Knock, and Trap Dust Shoot. Not that great of a hand, but it could be worse. So we're going to see how we play this here. And I decide to set 3, Wing Blast, Solemn, and Dust Shoot, and pass. And I Dust Shoot him, and I get a Zaborg. Now he's left with Graceful, Decree, Meta, Scapegoat, and Knock. So I really got to just play around this Decree here. It's going to fuck me. So he decides to set Scapegoat and set Decree and pass. I draw into another Solemn Judgment, okay. So at this point I think he's going to end-phase Decree, but he doesn't. He just passes. He draws into another Decree. So that's pretty damn funny. And he just passes. I draw into another Solemn Judgment. So now I got triple Solemn here. He draws in a DD Warrior Lady. And he sets the Decree and passes. I draw into Sinister Serpent. I decide to just run the Sinister out. Hit him for 300. Just kind of meme him here a little bit. He takes the 300, obviously. And I pass. He draws into a Zaborg. And now he tries to fire a Decree. And I decide just to Solemn it and say, fuck it, that's 4,000. Then he fires another Decree. I decide to Wing Blast this Decree instead of Solemn it. So this puts him back a turn, and if he does Graceful here, I can Solemn the Graceful. So I just felt like Wing Blasting was the best play here. Maybe it wasn't, but it all worked out, so... Now he goes into battle phase, and he's going to use DD Warrior Lady to banish my Sinister, and put me down to 2,800. Took a little too much there, $12.99. And he decides to pass. I draw into MST, so that's a pretty good draw for me. Because this gets rid of his Decree. He draws a Decree, which I know he's going to draw. And he sets a Decree and passes. I decide to end-phase MST it. Get rid of the Decree. I draw into Pot of Greed. Pretty nice draw here. I fire the Pot of Greed. I draw into a Spy and a Dust Shoot. I run the Spy out and try to attack for 12, and that is met with a Scapegoat. That sucks, but okay, I knew he had it. I hit one of the goats, set Dust Shoot and pass. I fire the Dust Shoot. I see his entire hand. Get rid of the Zaborg again. The Zaborg is just loving the Dust Shoot. Goes back to the deck. He fires Graceful. I decide to not Solemn this. I have double Solemn, but I decide to just not Solemn it. So he draws into Ring, Book, and Zaborg. And he decides to discard a Knock and discard a Book. Now he fires Meta, and I just say okay. I just let it go. I don't use the whatchamacallit on this, because I figure he can't kill me, and I have Snatch Steal, so might as well. And he hits me for 1,200, putting me down to 1,600. And he sets Ring and passes. I draw into a Breaker here. So now I decide to run the Breaker out, and I break the face down. And he changed Ring to try to win the game, but I have a Solemn Judgment. So now I'm at 800. I'm using these Solemns really wisely here. And then I decide to Snatch Steal, and I take the 1,000 Eyes, and I hit one of the tokens, and I pass. He draws into a Tsukiyomi. So he gains 1,000, now he's at 8,700, and I'm at 800, not ideal. He fires the Snatch Steal, and I decide to just Solemn Judgment it. Just saying, fuck it, I gotta do it. And then he decides to run Tsukiyomi out. Put the Thousand Eyes down, and he swings. Over the Thousand Eyes Restrict, and his Tsukuyomi goes back to hand, and he passes. I draw into Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. So this is what gets the game cooking. Now at this point, I'm just like, fuck it. Let's just go for it. I hit him for 4,600. Putting him down to 41. And then I decide to tribute the Breaker for a Thunder Dragon. Just in case he draws like Berserkerella or some crazy shit to beat me. He draws into a Sangen. So he really doesn't have much to do here. He sets his Tsukuyomi and passes. I draw into Ring. I fire the knock. And that is the game, people. That's how you fucking do it. What a fucking game 3. Use my Solemn Judgments very wisely. Solemn Judgment is a really, really good card if you know how to use it. Obviously, the Dust Shoots helped me out tremendously because I knew when to fire them, when not to fire them. But, yeah, pretty nice match there. Hit the like, hit the sub. Have a good day or night. Peace out. Bye.